Welcome back to Morning Brew with the Homeowners. I'm your host, Dmitry Lipinskiy, on my third cup of coffee, just reading the stories and sharing them with you. Today we have amazing, one of the best episodes probably. It's going to be success stories for the homeowners who decided to go against their insurance companies and won. My co-host today is Jason Reinsman from Florida. How are you doing, Jason?
Good. How about you, man?
Living the dream. Actually feels like Florida in Minnesota today. Very, very beautiful day. Absolutely love it. How hot is it in Florida these days?
I think it's like 90 degrees out today, so not too bad.
Well, we're about to match you.
Beach weather. Yeah.
Love it. So these stories are absolutely incredible. We hear these days a lot of injustice in our industry. Jason is in Orlando market over the years. He've dealt with a lot of insurance, a lot of news coverage for companies not paying their claims. Our first story comes from California. It's California flood claim story. Imagine your home is wrecked by a storm. No heat, no electricity, cracks in the walls. Now imagine your insurance company offers you a couple $1,000s to fix it. That's exactly what happened to two sisters in California. After 5 terrible years, a jury finally gave them what the insurance wanted. And it's justice. And wait until you hear how much money they got for this, and rightfully so. I absolutely love this story. Timeline here is 2019 February. Storm flooded the home of Jennifer Garnier and Angela Toft, damaging their electrical system, cracking their walls, and destroying the HVAC system. The home became uninhabitable. The sisters quickly filed a claim with American Reliable Insurance Company. Adjuster inspected the home, but only offered $5,000. That's what I don't get, Jason. How do you even come up with those numbers? $5,000? I know, like, without going any further, if you have main problems with the HVAC system and electrical stuff, I mean, it's got to be more than $5,000. September 2020, 8 months later, sisters file a lawsuit accusing the insurance of breach of contract and bad faith. From 2020 to 2023, the sisters live in their home without heat, battling the insurer in court. Good thing it's California. They would not survive without heat in Minnesota. October 2023, 4 years after the storm, Global and Indemnify finally pays the $140,000 policy limit, claiming it had only just learned about the heating issue. Yeah, right. March 2024, the trial begins. April 2024, the jury finds the insurer breached the contract and acted in bad faith, awards the sisters $18 million. Key evidence. The sisters provided multiple contractor estimates showing damages well over $100,000, but the insurers still offered just $5,000. Water and mud in a crawl space destroyed the HVAC system, and the sisters endured winters without heat while trying to survive in their damaged home. The insured argued that sisters were hard to reach because they insisted on written communication. Even in written communication, you can communicate really well and fast. But the plaintiff's attorney said they had sent updates for years, and the companies chose to ignore them. The jury found the insurance companies not only failed to pay, but did so with malice, oppression, or fraud, warranting punitive damages. Jury awards breakdown: $1.5 million for unpaid storm damage losses. Granted, they only gave them $140,000. $6 million for emotional distress, including living conditions. $10 million for punitive damages against American Reliable Insurance, $500,000 for punitive damages against Global Indemnity Group, and total of $18 million. Absolutely love this story. For some reason, this one comes close to heart. Those two sisters deserve $18 million. Do you agree, Jason?
Yeah, I'd like to know how they split it up, like how that worked out, if they needed a lawyer to do that. But a lot of times it comes down to the right lawyer, the one that's willing to fight.
100%. I mean, the whole thing. I mean, I would argue that if this insurance company did the right thing right away, I mean, if they would give them 140 grand, do you think they would fight for 18 million? Probably not. It would not stand a chance even for, lawsuit. I don't think any lawyer would take the case if they would get $140,000, because 140 grand, even in California, will fix almost any HVAC, almost any, electrical problems. I mean, I don't know exactly what the deal was, but still sounds like a lot of money. You can clean the crawl space. It's decent budget for the repairs.
Yeah, I think a lot more people need to know about these cases so that they could push their case to go all the way to the court, right? Like a lot of people don't know this, and I think it's like 98% of people accept the first offer from the insurance companies, and I've seen this firsthand. So that's what they're thinking is going to happen, and they went a lot further and got a lawyer, and this is awesome. A lot of people need to know that this is as far as you can go and get a full refund plus 18 million. That's awesome.
A few weeks ago, we actually covered how to deal with insurance claims, your rights, knowing your rights. You're exactly right, Jason. When you get a denial, you need to know that your insurance is not your friend. Like they have their financial interest, their bias. It's kind of not in your favor. And if insurance companies say, oh, your contractor estimate is too high, of course, that's what they're going to say. They need to save money. They're not in construction business. They don't get to tell you how much it costs. The best thing they can do is get few estimates or get a contractor and then, get ready to write. But you are right about that one thing that when they give you the money, a lot of people do trust insurance company and they simply agree to accept it. Do you think it's because they've been brainwashed by TV commercials over the years?
I think it's because they don't know about cases like this. This is why I think it's interesting that you brought this up. And honestly, the insurance complaining about the consumer doing written communication, like that's the best thing they could have done in this case. And actually, it's probably what helped the case.
100%. And why would insurance not want to communicate in writing? I mean, what's the
Exactly.
reason? Like, I absolutely love it. Actually, on our YouTube channel, you can find quite a few clips from me confronting insurance adjusters on the roofs and from others as well. I absolutely hate the game that insurance companies are playing. You cannot record me. Really? Why I cannot record you? You're doing your job. You're doing that roof inspection. I'm just documenting it. So I'm documenting the damage. Like I remember we were documenting insurance adjuster trying to prove to us that the roof was repairable. And as we're filming him, he is making more damage, just proving that you can't remove the shingles were so dry. So he got his knife and cuts the shingles out, and literally just rips the shingle apart. And his boss behind him is like, "Oh, Clay, why did you do that? Just add that." And Clay jokes like, "Oh, we'll just add it to the claim." No, you won't, because they already denied the roof. They wanted to do the repairs, but we're like, there's 18 shingles and we can't repair them. Show us how to do it. So they show us how to repair it and damaging more shingles. You just proven our point that this roof cannot be repaired. So they're afraid of that communication. They're afraid of you being filming them. So it's very smart to request everything being in writing.
You know what's interesting? I think this is a good video for lawyers and attorneys that actually do these type of claims. They can see you can get this much. Like I don't even think some of them realize that you can take it this far and recoup $18 million. So it's good for attorneys and lawyers to see that this actually won and they were awarded this.
Well, I think it's a perfect recipe here because you have multiple years without a hit, right? And if you documented all the communication, because those two poor sisters, people don't realize if you live paycheck to paycheck, you don't have 20, 30 grand laying around to HVAC system repair is very expensive. And if you get flooded, when I bought my first house in 2007, my HVAC went out within 6 months. I have to put it on Discover card. I did not have $4,000 to fix it. I needed 4 grand. I did not have it. People don't realize how expensive the things are. And I mean, California is good state, like it's warm, but it's still winters are still cold there.
Yeah, you know what's expensive? $18 million. That's a lot of money for the insurance company. They should have just did the right thing from the beginning, as they promised the customer, as they usually do. They should have done the right thing from the beginning.
And I love it that they finally paid $140,000 4 years later, claiming they just learned about the heating issues, but it was a little too late. When you took 4 years to acknowledge that the heater is broken, and now you're offering finally 140 grand. You deserve to get penalized for it. Well, what a story. When we come back after the break, we will share another story about 15-year insurance nightmare. Don't go anywhere.
We moved to Dallas. First 5 days, we make the mistake leaving our cars outside. We have no clue what happens in Dallas. Next thing you know, warning, hail.
Yep.
I go, okay,
no.
I'm just going to be fine. It's going to be hail. No, not just hail. I'm looking outside the window. Golf-size hail coming down. I come outside. The 750 BMW looks like somebody did a drive-by with like 50 Uzis. I'm like, is this crazy? Then a guy knocks on the door. Hey, I think you need my help. Why? What do I need your help with? Your roof is jacked up. Your car is messed up. This is what we do for a living. We come to places like you, and you need our help. And what Dmitry does with this company, Directory, you get to go on there and try to find any contractors you want in U.S. and Canada. Okay. So imagine an Uber for U.S. and Canada for contractors. Right here. Find the perfect pro for your home, backed with our $20,000 guarantee. So all contractors are pre-screened and vetted by a multi-factor vetting process that includes business sustainability evaluation, safety or code violation history, background checks, market references, reviews online, presence, and more. Whether it's roofing, solar, flooring, plumbing, HVAC, or a multitude of other services, Directory is the place where you can find what you need for your home improvement projects, and with guarantee it's going to be done right for you. Download the app today and start looking for the right contractor for your need with a $20,000 peace of mind guarantee. It's on Apple Store and Google Play.
And we are back. Next story is 15-year insurance nightmare. Jason has the details. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, this is an interesting story. Another long battle with the insurance companies. So Silva and Paul Miner watched their home get torn apart by a hurricane and spent the next 15 years fighting their insurance company. What unfolded was dramatic legal battle over lowball payouts, hidden internal memos, and allegations of bad faith. It started all the way back in August of 2005. Hurricane Katrina destroys the Miners' beachfront home in Mississippi. They had over $1 million policy with USAA that covered wind but not flood damage. In 2006, the Miners file a claim. USAA sends out adjusters and engineers. Early 2006, USAA engineer firm says some shingles, trim, windows were damaged by wind, but most of the home was destroyed by a 10-foot storm surge. So USAA only pays out $37,000. By mid-2006, the Miners challenged USAA, arguing the home was worth much more. USAA asked them to provide proof. Late 2006, after the Miners provided floor plans, photos, finally dug up its own pre-storm files and reevaluated the wind damage from USAA, they issued a supplement payment of $194,322, bringing the total to $231,568. 2008, the Miners sued for breach of contract in bad faith, demanding the full policy limits. 2013, the jury awards them $1.5 million, confirming USAA did not come close to covering their loss. 2017 to 2018, an appeals court approved the case for the proceedings and punitive damages, citing disturbing internal practices by USAA. October 22, new jury awards $10 million in damages and $458,000 in attorney fees. So it's going up dramatically in 22. December 2024, Mississippi Supreme Court affirms the $10.5 million and adds another $4.5 million in fees, bringing the total to $15 million. This is wild. Allegations of bad faith. USAA had detailed pre-Katrina files, floor plans, photos, appraisals that failed to use until late 2006, after the Miners were forced to come up with their own appraisal. This supported the Miners' claim that USAA delayed or denied payment without cause. An internal report on USAA found wind damage to all windows, and adjuster's memo confessed the company would be accountable to replace all windows, but labeled it confidential, keeping it out of the official claims systems. They're pretty dirty here from the insurance company. Quote from the memo: If we're paying for all the windows, it would open the contents into all the rooms with windows. You may want to discuss this with your team leader. You know he won't be happy with that. This is wild. USAA took almost 4 years to pay, even after acknowledging structural wind damage. The Mississippi Supreme Court emphasized that USAA's conduct ignored internal findings and delayed payment, violating its duty of good faith and punitive damage. This is wild, Dmitry.
Well,
And it's crazy.
Here's the thing. I give huge credit and shout out to these people because not many people will fight for 15 years. Like, honestly, a lot of people in this country, they don't stand for themselves. Like, I'm talking about roofers, I'm talking about homeowners. They kind of count their losses and moving on. And I would argue moving on too fast. How many stories like this happened after Hurricane Katrina? And I would argue also, USAA used to be one of the best insurance companies out there. I remember here in Minnesota dealing with the USAA back in 2015, 2016. Word of the street was among contractors was one of the best insurance companies. They took care of their members. Like, actually, I'm surprised to see this back from 2005 because usually USAA was good guys. And then 2019, 2020, I've heard that they've hired managers and consultants, the same consultants that helped monetize and get the most out of claims with the bigger players like State Farm and Allstate. And that's where everything went south. Like today, USAA is as bad as State Farm, as bad as Allstate. But overall, I would say they were good guys. Now, here you have a homeowner who's dealing with this looks to me they probably have some money because who can afford, such a lengthy lawsuit? And, it was a beachfront home in Mississippi. So beachfront, second property, but they stood their grounds. I mean, a lot of people did not have it. Crazy.
Yeah, this is a long fight. I think from my experience, USAA used to be really a good company to deal with. And it looks like the biggest issues here is the confidential, like all the memos that they were hidden and trying to get out of the claim and the contents in the house. They tried to get out of paying for that by acknowledging that there was window damage and the windows were blown. And it's just wild. Like they could have picked the more integrity route and solved this problem much further than what they took it.
But also, just like in a previous claim, so they started with 37,000. Late 2006, we went to 194, then 231, which is still nothing. And then from 2006, from 231, we went to jury award of 1.5 million. And I'm just curious, how do you go from 1.5 to 10 million? This is, again, good for this homeowner. Like if you break down, 15 years. So what's the total amount here? 10.5? Is it 10.5 plus 10?
15 million after attorney fees and punitive awards, like 15 million total.
So divided by 15 years, it's $1 million a year. Like that's actually how I look at the business. If you build a business and you sell it for $3 million, you might, lose money some years or break even. But if you, take what you sold the business for, divided by years, you've been like, you're pretty good. Like you've done pretty good. The same here. The reward, or in this case, award is usually at the end. And of course, nothing is guaranteed. What do you think gonna happen next? Because we do see Allstate and State Farm, answering to Congress. There's so many eyes on insurance company these days, and I'm just curious, what's gonna happen? I think one of the two things will happen. It's either insurance companies start folding, and people will not start investing in that business, like pretty much, start getting out of what State Farm did at LA, California. They're just like, we're coming out of the state. So pretty much going out of business. Or we're going to see this trend where more and more people will be suing insurance companies and they'll just be paying more and more and go bankrupt at the end of the day. Because government is big enough to make them pay.
Yeah, this is surprising. And honestly, it was a 10-foot storm surge. So think about 10 foot. and you live on the beach, there's going to be a massive amount of damage. And to try to get out for 37 grand on a beachfront home that blew out their windows, that's probably not even going to cover just the windows, right? So I think what the insurance companies should learn is like bad faith. Like you're not going to get anywhere with the confidential bad faith stuff that they're doing. But honestly, a lot of lawyers just don't take it far enough for the customer when they're representing the person against the insurance company, because they too probably need the money. So whenever there's a settlement, a lot of times they take it, where you can see in this case, they just kept going and they actually got probably what they deserve, with, if not more.
How do you feel about lawyers in this situation? Because lawyers also become ambulance chasers, just like in other industries, and it becomes also a very big part of the puzzle. So now you have a lot of lawyers, who are powerful, pro bono. They go after these claims, whether you have a case or not. They go after just to settle for something. And I feel like in Florida, you probably have seen cases that should not be litigated, should not go to courts, but a lot of lawyers are taking advantage of that. Is it the beginning of it? Because lawyers also can be gold diggers, thinking about, okay, how about I go for this $15 million claim, and if they take 30%, $5 million goes to the firm.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad players no matter how you look at it. But in this case, you can see like the confidential stuff where they tried to hide stuff, and the bad faith is actually what caused this to go south for the insurance company. So I think if they were to do the right thing in the beginning, it's going to actually stop as many bad players from lawyers too getting involved in this. So they can litigate the damage by like stepping up at the beginning, or not trying to hide it and just being honest and pay up when it's time to pay. But yeah, there's going to be bad players on both sides every time. We see that in Florida all the time, especially with vehicles. We have the signs here everywhere that my lawyer got me X amount of dollars. It's on every sign. And honestly, we beat one of those lawyers, and they're a huge lawyer here in town. And I wanted to put my own sign up that we beat them, like a billboard.
Oh, wow. I would say at the end here, fight for your rights, stay to the end, 15 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it takes. It might be exhausted, but like if you already have a property, and it sucks for the homeowner. I mean, imagine you have, that property on the beachfront probably going to be like $1 million, $2 million, I don't know the worth, but it's probably expensive property. You bought it. It's maybe investment, maybe all your savings. You want to fight for it. And I remember Chad Wilson, who beat State Farm many, many times. He shared the story where he said, after we beat them, it was like $60,000 settlement. They just laughed. They're just like, it's nothing. You think you won? Like, it's a numbers game for insurance companies too. Like, you can bring this case. I mean, they know that this is one, in hundreds of thousands claims. I mean, how many claims were affected by Hurricane Katrina? And this is one of the very few with a multi-million-dollar settlement. This is just not common. So insurance companies probably laughing, like, okay, after 15 years, we're going to write this check. But I would say what's needed is this radio show, media coverage. They brainwash you with the propaganda, how good they are. We're going to keep sharing stories, how bad they are, so people know the truth. When we come back, we have another crazy story from Miami Condo saga. Don't go anywhere.
%80 of roofing contractors going out of business within 2 years. 95% of contractors go out of business within 5 years. Now, ask yourself this question. What will happen to that 20-year warranty, 25-year warranty? I'm here reading warranty for Fox Heaven Roofing in Florida, 20-year warranty. But what will happen to this warranty if they go out of business? See, roofing is very risky business. They're good guys, one of the best. That's why we recommend them. But if something happened to the owner, or if they make big mistake on a big commercial property, what will happen to all the smaller jobs? Directory.com is the only platform that backs the warranty of a contractor. It recommends. Better Business Bureau is not going to do it for you. Better Business Bureau have thousands of jobs every single year that goes with undisputed results. Absolutely undisputed. You'll hire a contractor of BBB, and at the end of the day, when they file bankruptcy or make expensive mistakes and you have dispute with them, BBB will not step in and will not help you. Directory.com is the safest way to hire a contractor. They offer warranty on the warranty of everybody they recommend. We don't give better recommendations. Check out directory.com, free app in all app stores. Check out for yourself.
And we are back. Dmitry in Minneapolis and Jason in Florida discussing crazy settlements. Today we're covering stories of homeowner associations suing their insurance companies. We already covered 2 stories of $15 million settlement, the last one, and next one is also right there with those lines. Miami Condo Association won a multi-million-dollar judgment against their insurance company, but only after a 6-year legal battle that included fraud accusations. Here's the timeline. September 10, 2017, Hurricane Irma hits Florida. Samari Lakes East Condominium Association suffers widespread damage affecting all 635 units. October 2017, Samari submits a claim. Heritage sends an adjuster who estimated $22,000 in damages, well below the deductible. Of course, 635 units and 22 grand in damages. June 2018, Samari submits its own estimate, $14.2 million in invokes appraisal. Late 18, early 19, both sides agree to mediation, which fails. Appraisals continues. August 2019, wow, the time goes fast here. Heritage sends a denial letter accusing Samari of fraud. So insurance companies calling Condo fraud. September 19, court orders the appraisal process to go forward despite Heritage's fraud allegations. December 2019, 2 years after the storm, appraisal award issues for $14.88 million, 500 times higher than Heritage's estimate. October 2021, Heritage fraud allegations are proven false. Summary judgment granted for Samari for more than $16 million. March 2023, an appeals court upholds the ruling. Heritage finally pays, but attorney fees and punitive claims remain. June 2023, Samari filed a follow-up lawsuit alleging Heritage acted in bad faith. April 2024, court dismisses case, confirming all claims are resolved but by confidential settlement. Why this case matters? Shows the power of appraisal first. Despite Heritage initial $22,000 estimate, the appraisal panel awarded $14.88 million, showing the policyholder can fight back and win. Ended with a settlement, but triggered public scrutiny. While bad faith claims were settled quietly in 2024, the details made public through court filings raised serious issues, including unlicensed adjusters. Heritage was accused of using unlicensed adjusters in thousands of hurricanes claims. Delay tactics. Heritage allegedly sent over 700 deposition notices and filed a baseless fraud suit to avoid paying. Wider pattern of misconduct. The amended complaint referenced at least 8 other condo associations similarly targeted by Heritage claim handling tactics post-Hurricane Irma. There's so many claims are still not settled from that storm. I'm still hearing nightmare stories from associations, homeowners, contractors. It's crazy what they do. I mean, this is the first one that I've heard that insurance companies alleging fraud and actually loses, because you can call fraud anyone you want. And usually they're the one committing fraud. But here they lost. How can you call someone fraud and not be able to prove it? What's your take on the story?
Yeah, that's what stands out the biggest to me is they filed a baseless fraud suit, which can be scary for the person, the homeowner, right? Like, so I found that to be crazy. But again, 22,000 to almost 15 million. But what's crazy too is there's 8 other condos with the same insurance company that had the same issues. And so it's not just one person.
Florida is crazy. Do you see a lot of, like, here's my worries. Florida almost does not have good insurance now. So many people, so many insurance companies left, right? And if you ever been after hurricane in an area, it looks like war zone. It looks like the devastation. It looks like third world country. I've been in so many areas affected. The problem is 2 years, 3 years, 4 years later, it's still not recognizable. When you go to Louisiana, you still see damage from 2005 Katrina, right? It's still there. There are areas that just don't rebuild. So if you have, let's say, 500,000 homes, yeah, few people will fight for millions. A lot of people will relocate. A lot of people will drop. Those insurance companies collect millions and millions, billions actually. And then when the time is to pay up, what do? They ask government, can you step in? Can you help? This is not our problem. It's your problem. Well, yeah, FEMA is there too, also corrupt. But Jason, can you explain to our listeners few terms here? So what's appraisal a word? Because we have appraisal here issued for 14.88 million, and after that it was a fraud allegations. What's appraisal and why it did not work here?
Well, I mean, it's probably what actually ended up getting them paid out is getting a third party's appraisal, like someone that's licensed. And honestly, if you look at this, the insurance company didn't use licensed adjusters. That's another red flag too. And it shows the power of appraisal by hiring somebody to come in and give you an appraisal. That's a third party that's going to kind of mediate, right? Like that's going to help. But it's funny to me that the insurance company didn't even use somebody licensed. That blows my mind. But another thing that people don't understand is now this homeowner still has to go through all the permitting processes, the approval process, to even get the work done. So even though it took them 6 years to get paid, it could take them another 2 years to get the work done because a lot of times the system is held up by, permitting because you can't get in to do the work because there's so many people that applied. And your local, areas, they can't get people to inspect. It becomes a massive problem. I was just in St. Pete Beach, and they're dealing with the same issue from last year. You can't even put drywall in your house without an inspection. And so, it's hard to even get a permit to put drywall in your house from the storm.
Another angle to look at it, also think about this. Like, imagine if you're a contractor and working with a case like this. So this case, start to finish, 6 years. So if you're the contractor, I mean, you know how much work, manpower, office hours takes to document the damage in 635 units? Like, it's a lot of men. So insurance companies working on it, but also probably someone, I don't think it was, association not going to be able to even write the exactimate and all the estimates for it. Like, I know they, $14.2 million estimate. It's, how long would it take your company, Jason, to come up with a $14.2 million estimate? What's the cost like of estimating or doing the job?
Yeah, that would take a long time to come up with that estimate. But the key to that is hiring your own appraisal because the insurance company is going to hire their appraisal people too. And theirs are always going to side with them and it's going to be a much lower amount. So as a consumer, a customer, you need to go and find your own person to do your appraisal. And honestly, a good attorney is going to be able to find somebody. So you probably usually end up in the middle somewhere.
Absolutely. So there's a few more terms here, but who do you usually see for adjusters? And I want to ask you, how popular are public adjusters? I know you're like a capital of public adjusters. Like, could public adjuster help in this kind of situation?
In some instances they can, but what I found recently is the attorneys it's much easier with an attorney. The only issue now in Florida is the attorney fees are added into the claim. So if it's a $30,000 claim and the attorney costs $10,000, then the homeowner's only getting $20,000 now. And that's really slowed it down a lot, where it used to be the attorney's fees were on top of it.
What about public adjuster fee?
I don't really use public adjusters anymore. We typically just go to an insurance adjuster or a lawyer. We don't even go that route here in Florida. We don't specifically.
So is this insurance company Heritage, are they still in business?
Not that I know of, no.
So they pulled out.
Yep, a lot of them did pull out.
That's crazy. So what are the options? I mean, who's insuring like associations, and is there a true crisis? What's your take on Florida insurance situation?
So yeah, insurance is extremely expensive in Florida. And honestly, like if you wanted to file a claim now for damage on your roof, there's like storm deductibles that are extremely high. People aren't filing deduct or insurance claims anymore in Florida because the deductibles are so high. So the insurance was able to raise their premiums, and then less people actually file for storm damage now than they did in the past. So it's a win-win for your insurance companies. But a lot of people are moving towards Florida has their own insurance that they offer, and that's what a lot of homeowners have now. And it's not good insurance at all.
As a contractor, would you take this job? Would you work with this Miami Condo Association?
If I had a good attorney, I would. Yeah. Yeah, I would.
It's a lot of work, but also you have to wait 6 years to get it. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. When you work with your contractor, a lot of people say, well, what do you do? There's not much you can do. You have no idea what contractor does daily. I mean, we're literally finishing jobs this year that we started 3-4 years ago. Amount of settlement, headaches, back and forth. I think we're one of the leaders for unpaid time, because we work on so many estimates. We meet so many people. We help with so many decisions that we cannot charge for it. If you're a general contractor, you can't charge for like picking up faucets and colors. Even if it's in contract, like it's still like how much, like what's the reasonable time, right? Like people will drag, and claims are a completely different story. Also time consuming, back and forth, back and forth. You can be the best estimator, but good luck. I mean, that's why so many contractors go out of business too.
Yeah, it's hard to figure out what the cost is for all the staff that spends a ton of hours in the office, like trying to figure out the case. So, and you can't really bill for that. It's really, really difficult.
Absolutely. That's why a lot of contractors go out of business. But I'm happy to see these positive stories today. $15 million finally was paid in 2024, 7 years later. When we come back, we have one more story, Louisiana class action lawsuit. And this is the biggest story today. You don't want to go anywhere. We'll be right back.
We moved to Dallas. First 5 days, we make the mistake leaving our cars outside. We have no clue what happens in Dallas. Next thing you know, warning. Hail.
Yep.
Okay,
Oh, no.
I'm just going to be fine. It's going to be hail. No, not just hail. I'm looking outside the window. Golf-size hail coming down. I come outside. The 750 BMW looks like somebody did a drive-by with like 50 Uzis. The whole, I'm like, is this crazy? Then a guy knocks on the door. Hey, I think you need my help. Why? What do I need your help with? Your roof is jacked up. Your car is messed up. This is what we do for a living. We come to places like you, and you need our help. And what Dmitry does with this company, Directory, you get to go on there and try to find any contractors you want in U.S. and Canada. Okay. So imagine an Uber for U.S. and Canada for contractors. Right here. Find the perfect pro for your home, backed with our $20,000 guarantee. So all contractors are pre-screened and vetted by a multi-factor vetting process that includes business sustainability evaluation, safety or code violation history, background checks, market references, reviews online, presence, and more. Whether it's roofing, solar, flooring, plumbing, HVAC, or a multitude of other services, Directory is the place where you can find what you need for your home improvement projects, and with guarantee it's going to be done right for you. Download the app today and start looking for the right contractor for your need with a $20,000 peace of mind guarantee. It's on Apple Store and Google Play.
And we are back. Homeowner Morning Brew. Today we're covering all the crazy stories where homeowners have decided to sue their insurance companies and won. All of these stories are pretty positive. Next one is the one from Louisiana class action. Jason has the details. Jason, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, this is a big one from Louisiana. It's a class action. And honestly, I don't want to share the results, but it's a big, big class action. $92 million. That's nuts. So let's read through it. After Hurricane Katrina and Rita, thousands of Louisiana homeowners turned to their insurance, Louisiana Citizens Property Insurance Corporation, for help. But for nearly 20,000 of them, that help came too late. A massive class action lawsuit followed, and it ended with a massive judgment in the state Supreme Court. Timeline was August 29, 2005. Hurricane Katrina hits Louisiana. September 2005, Hurricane Rita strikes, compounding storm damage across the region. Fall of 2005, homeowners notify Louisiana citizens of property damage and file insurance claims. Late 2005 and 2006, many policyholders report that citizens failed to initiate loss adjustments within 30 days as required by the law. 2006 to 2007, Geraldine Aubrey and Linda Gentry filed a class action lawsuit on behalf of 18,573 citizens policyholders. 2009 trial court rules in favor of homeowners, awards $5,000 per claim, totaling $92 million, $865,000 in penalties. Then in 2011, the Louisiana Court of Appeal overturns the penalty, ruling that the homeowners needed to prove citizens acted in bad faith. 2012, the Louisiana Supreme Court reinstates the full $92.8 million judgment, ruling bad faith isn't required, just proof of 30-day delay. That's wild right there. That's the biggest issue here. Why this case matters. The insurance companies now face serious penalties if they miss the 30-day deadline to start your claim. I think that's one of the biggest points that I picked up. $5,000 per delay. If they're late, no other damage is proven, they still owe $5,000 per claim. It's a lot of money.
Absolutely. You know what? I just want to give a huge shout out to all consumer advocates out there, to all the lawyers, all the people who are not afraid to face the giant, to take insurance companies to court. Like, the perception is, who are we? We're small people. We can't do it. What are you going to do? Sue the manufacturer, sue the insurance company, right? A lot of times we feel hopeless. A lot of times we, as a consumer, or, like when you read these kind of stories, I mean, remember Erin Brockovich? They made a Hollywood movie about her. There was another guy who was suing tobacco companies back in the day. Now it's a part of the history. So back in the day, like 30, 40 years ago, the idea that you can go against tobacco company, they were also brainwashing people. And when I look at the insurance companies today denying hail damage and storm claims, I often think about tobacco companies because they have a lot of things in common. They all were super profitable. We're talking about billions. They all were lawyered up. They all use a lot of propaganda. I mean, if you look at the commercials from like 80s and 90s, they're wild. They have doctors in their commercials. Like, you could not make a case that smoking is bad for you, like, right? And even if you imagine this, you're the doctor or you're a lawyer or someone is dying from cancer from smoking, like you could not prove it. The idea that you can go against those giants, you were the minority, you're the small guy, and corporations were too big. But now we have more and more cases, and I absolutely love this. These kind of stories empower me. So $5,000 per delay, and actually I think it's pretty small. So in 2009, the trial court rules in favor of homeowners. So $5,000 per claim. Yes, it's $92 million in penalties, but it's just $5,000 per claim. And that's the problem with the class action lawsuits, because a lot of lawsuits, lawyers win. Like, there's a big portion for the lawyers, and all these small claims is a nightmare for the big player, but they're actually not a big win. It's not, think about $92 million, but you have how many homeowners here? How many thousands of them? It was on a behalf, let me see.
20,000 of them.
20,000 people. So it's not 18,573 policyholders. So if you break it down, but the precedent is there. So $5,000 per delay. Do they pay? Like, do you hear of contractors talking about $5,000 to delays? Like, you have to fight for it because there's loopholes. I've heard that there's a $5,000 per delay in some states, but average time to settle a claim is still 3 to 6 months, because the backlog and 500 other things.
This is interesting because a good attorney is going to pull that out. 30 days, it's the details that actually help win this case, right? Like, if you got a good attorney, they're going to see those details. And then they tried to overturn it 2 years later. That's what's wild about it. But that's why in one of these cases we talked about earlier, the insurance company was mad that the only way they could talk to the homeowners was through written communication. Well, that's why written communication matters, is because you can prove the deadlines and you can prove all the details. Because what this story was is that it lies in the details, is how they were able to get this done.
Love it. Well, I think if you look at how they deal with these claims in Congress now, like last hearing in Congress, when they were questioning Allstate, I think it was CEO or president or whoever he was in State Farm, they did not even care about written. They were like pretty much cross-examining, like, did this happen? You know what? Like like what I love about direction where the country is going. They're no longer trying to go by the piece of paper. They're asking real life questions, like almost like a rhetorical questions. They're literally putting CEO executive, big executive insurance company, and asking, hey, you are getting paid 30 million a year, and Miss wherever homeowner's name is getting denied the claim. Is it fair? Right? Like, it doesn't matter what's in writing. It doesn't matter. Like, it's just a common sense appeal. Like, this is just not fair. Like, I feel like even back in 2011, 12, all of these cases, they go back and forth with still setting the precedents and stuff, and still like kind of, it's a new game for the country. It's like, hey, you used to pay, I pay you, you pay me when I need you. So now they're establishing rules how to play this game, but it's no longer like, oh, you don't play by the rules, we're going to fine you. They're like, no, you don't play by the rules, you go in front of the Congress, we're going to fine you. But my question to you, Jason, is, are they too big to care? Because some of these big corporate, like banking industry, for example, if you fine banking industry $3 billion, it's slap on the wrist, like it's nothing. So, when I looked last time, Allstate, I think in that hearing says they made $5 billion in profit. So even if you give them $1 billion fine, so we're talking about $92 million in penalties, they made $5 billion. $5 billion in net profit. So they bring $60 billion, which is salary, that $20 million salary, whatever. It's not even part of the, it's part of their operations. So if you fine Allstate $1 billion, it's just 20% of their net. They still made $4. So are they too?
They're laughing.
Are they too big?
Yeah, they're too big. And I think what's interesting about all these cases is how long the cases take. This one took 7 years before it was actually taken care of. That's what they want, like to draw it out and actually. So they probably made billions of dollars over those 7 years too, right? Like, it's a long time these cases take, and the consumer is the one that's suffering.
So how do we deal with this? What's the solution here? Because is it the problem in the system itself, legal system, prosecution? Should we speed it up? Like, because we're talking about recovery. We're talking about helping people, who already lost their houses. Imagine if your mom, grandma lives, she's 90-year-old, and her home got destroyed. She doesn't have 5 years to settle the claim, 7 years. Last few years of her life or their life will be spent in destroyed house, probably with a mold, probably without heat, like, not at comfort. Like, that's not acceptable. What can we do, is the question of the day, to settle cases that takes 5, 7, 10, 15 years to settle in 1 or 2? Is it possible to speed them up? Can Congress do that?
That's what we're looking for, because, a lot of homeowners don't have that cash up front to just fix the problem. So they got to deal with this over that 7 years, and a lot of people give up, and so that's why insurance typically wins. So this is a good case to show, and all these cases we showed today show that if you stick it out, there's a big payout at the end that could at least cover your expenses, right?
Absolutely. Well, if you're the homeowner, you have a story, you can text me. I would love to have you on the show, share your story. If you need the publicity, if you want to be heard, my cell is 612-558-4881, 612-558-4881. You can also find this show and our channel on YouTube. Just look it up, Homeowner Morning Brew Show, and we try to help as many homeowners as possible fight the good fight, stand your ground. If you're the victim, if you get damaged, if you feel like your insurance company did you wrong, fight for your rights. It was me, Dmitry Lipinskiy, and Jason Reinsman from Florida. Thank you for tuning in today, and I'll see you guys next Saturday.
80% of roofing contractors going out of business within 2 years. 95% of contractors go out of business within 5 years. Now, ask yourself this question. What will happen to that 20-year warranty, 25-year warranty? I'm here reading warranty for Fox Heaven Roofing in Florida, 20-year warranty. But what will happen to this warranty if they go out of business? See, roofing is very risky business. They're good guys, one of the best. That's why we recommend them. But if something happened to the owner, or if they make big mistake on a big commercial property, what will happen to all the smaller jobs? Directory.com is the only platform that backs the warranty of a contractor. It recommends. Better Business Bureau is not gonna do it for you. Better Business Bureau have thousands of jobs every single year that goes with undisputed results. Absolutely undisputed. You'll hire a contractor of BBB, and at the end of the day, when they file bankruptcy or make expensive mistakes and you have dispute with them, BBB will not step in and will not help you. Directory.com is the safest way to hire a contractor. They offer warranty on the warranty of everybody they recommend. We don't give better recommendations. Check out Directory.com, free app in all app stores. Check out for yourself.